Check this thing out. 1984 Honda Goldwing. It's a 1200. This thing is gonna be a beast. Bought this thing for 400 bucks. Plan is to strip it down. We're taking down that whole front fairing. We're ripping off all the bags, taking off all the lights and everything. I got a new light that I'm gonna put on there, circle light, 7-inch. New tail light going on there. Do something, we're gonna figure something out with the seat. But this is gonna be one of those projects where you kind of figure it out as we go along. So it's gonna be an awesome one. Cannot wait to get this thing rolling. Let's go. Oh, check that out. True classic American bagger. Well, this one's pretty good. Pulled off the air box. Yeah, I think it needs a new air filter. Did not have one from the beginning. Gonna get another one of those on order. We already got the new oil filter. Gonna put new spark plugs here in a second. But dude, look at this thing. So coming from a four-wheeler and dirt bike background, this back pedal is supposed to be for just your back brake. I know how to use my front brake and my back brake, and I think what I'm gonna try to do is hook up a dual caliper setup for up front. So for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna block off the front caliper part, and the other thing is hopefully that will fix my rear brake problem. I was having a problem where this was pretty spongy, and I'm thinking there's some kind of leak along the way up to that front caliper. So I'm gonna get this thing put back together. Also just found out, great news, that my exhaust rusted off, which is pretty perfect because that's right where I would have taken the Sawzall to it. Well, I'm gonna pop that shelter and these side covers off, and I think that's about as naked as she's gonna get. I think I'll chop this fender off somewhere right there, but for now, I think it's time to go start this baby up, see how those pipes just absolutely blow my eardrums out, and then give this thing a quick wash and try out those rear brakes. So I just got this thing back in the shop from washing it up, and it's looking pretty awesome right now. I can't believe with all that stuff off there, this thing looks so incredibly different. What I'm doing right now is I'm looking at it, I'm looking for a few different ideas on lights and seats and that kind of thing. So I actually ordered up a 7-inch headlight. That's gonna go right there, just a round one. That's gonna integrate the blinkers into that as well. Also, looking into a tail light. I think I'm just gonna do an LED strip. That's gonna have blinkers on there as well. And for the seat, I was actually doing some modification here. I got this looking pretty good. Like, I think that's kind of what I'm gonna go with. And I got that on order as well. But the one thing that's really making me wonder is this right here. So I have modeled up this cardboard piece. I want to figure out a way to cap those ends off. I think I like this idea, but I also think there's a good chance that I might trim this off right here. and then put in a flat plate or something along those lines instead. But it's coming along really well. I think my next plan is to rip this dash out right here. I'm gonna take this screen right there and put that right in front of here. I'm not sure how that's gonna work yet. Not sure how I'm gonna mount it, but let's get after it. Let's see how this thing turns out. So I pulled the wiring harness out of there, and I got some tags on here. Like, this is for the radio. I won't need to plug those in. This one right here is my left blinker, so I need to wire into that when I wire my headlight. I got these. This is my right blinker. Right here is the vacuum, or the compressor, so I can pretty much cut this off. I'm not sure how I'm going to cap all those ends off. But then right here is my dash. So I pulled that dash out, and I'm going to try to connect all these, see if I can get a working dash. Right now, got some quality engineering going on right here. I got it zip tied up. Not exactly sure how I'm going to mount it. Maybe I'll even pull out just the green part there. I hate that this plastic is cracked. I know I won't keep that plastic, but we'll figure something out. Let's just see if we can get that dash wired up and working again. That wiring went good. Everything's in there. All our indicators. That's awesome. The only problem with all that is look at all of this junk wiring that I have sitting there. So I was getting pretty excited about having this little storage area right in here. I'll show that to you. And what that is, just this little area right here. But I think I'm probably gonna end up having to stuff wires in there just to conceal everything away. So if you use your imagination with all that cardboard I had, this is kind of what I was thinking. I'd make like a sheet metal kind of wind blocker, windshield kind of thing that would curve around the headlight, and that would block that off. But that is still just absolutely huge. I'm not sure what I think about that, so might go back to the drawing board. I am pretty convinced that I want to take that out. I mean, realistically, all I'm missing that I would need is that oil light, and then possibly those turn signals, but I think I could do without that. Well, we'll keep at her, see what happens, and I think I like where this is going. Well, my new seat shows up tonight, but I'm having second thoughts. I think I'm gonna try to cut this seat up. So what I wanna do is cut it about right in line there so I can see that shock. Gonna go right through there, so it still covers right here, but then cut this down, cut this hump down, and then probably cut it off right about there or so.
Like, you could get by the millisecond when the front of the vehicle comes past that line. Yes. It'll always be the same.
We could paint the strip on the whole edge of the, all around the shipping container. Oh, yeah. So you can see it from afar too, so you know that that's where it goes. We didn't have.
So this is generation 1 of the seat. Check that out. Like, not too bad for kind of what I was imagining. I think I want to cut this down just a little bit more right here. Get this big fluff right out of there. That kind of annoys me. But also got some news. Air filter came in, so I'm going to pop that in quick, and oh, I'm excited for that. So my idea right now is this is how the seat's gonna sit on the motorcycle. I wanna cut down into this right around there. So I'm gonna try cutting that out. And then start rounding off. I wanna chop these little ears off right here, round up these corners, and then start doing a little bit of shaping as well. So not sure how, but I guess it's time to figure it out. So next up, I'm gonna start working on this speedometer here. I'm gonna tear this apart, and I want to try to get this little green guy out of there. Not sure how it's gonna end up, but let's just get to tearing this thing apart. So here's a little update on what I've been doing with the speedometer. I cut up the original housing, so this fits right in there pretty nice, and then glued on some sides. I'll sand those up, make them look pretty, and then paint this. But what I want to do is I have this aluminum plate right here that I'm going to take, and I'm going to cut out a hole for where the key goes, and mount it to right there and right here. Got my new headlight in today. We're gonna plop that on. It's the same style as the old one. This one was just a little bit cheaper on Amazon. I think it might be a little lighter quality, but for the price, you really can't beat it. So gonna put this on, see how that looks, and I think I'm gonna end up having to order that windshield. We'll see. Let's go for it. Check that out, looking good. Might try to suck this light back up just a little bit, put those through those holes. But right now, I think it's time to dive into the part that's been scaring me the most. I want to chop these sides off and then put some fiberglass right there. Same thing on this side. And I've never worked with fiberglass. This is going to be a fun learning experience. Let's see how it goes.
Timing right now, like, I don't know, personally me, I'm watching everything going on here and also abroad around the world.
As you know, from over 9,000, and they're 90 miles away. This is a little difference. Rocking and rolling before COVID came in, the China virus, it came from China.
So getting pretty close on the fiberglass structure for these shields. Glued those on, glued these front halves on too. hopefully put a little glue on those seams there and duct tape them up. So hopefully that turns out all right. But while I'm waiting, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this stuff over the seat. And what this is just a little thin little down. I'm not sure what you'd call it, but that'll kind of cover up a lot of the imperfections on my seat. And then I did buy some extra covering. So I'm gonna put 2 layers of this, and then I got some fake leather covering that'll be going over that. So let's get started with that, and it's coming together well. Should be pretty soon here where things start to go back on. I decided to do that seat covering right away, and you're not gonna believe what I picked for the seat cover. Fake alligator skin. Check that out. This is gonna be a conversation piece. Now, if this bike cost any more than it did, I would have gone with something more professional, but this is gonna be sweet for what it is. Check this seat out. Not too bad for just a piece of leather over a seat cover. Feels pretty good too. First time officially trimming the seat down, and not terrible. I'm not gonna complain. And now for the moment of truth, this tank cover. Hopefully when I take all this tape and clamps off, this outer piece right here is gonna be conformed to this inner piece right here. So we'll give it a go, and then maybe we can even get started on fiberglass. So now what we're doing is getting ready for the fiberglass. Got some fiberglass cut out there, and then getting the resin ready. Dad's helping me figure this out. First time I done this, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna dip this in some resin and then put it on there and then paint everything on, make sure it looks good, and then if that goes well, then I'll do the other side.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, wet it all.
That fiberglass is looking awesome so far. Still a little bit tacky, so we're gonna let that one dry before we start working on that. But what I can do is I wanna trim down this fender a little bit. I wanna try to mount it right around there to these points. So I think I'm gonna trim it right about there. We'll see how it looks, maybe trim a little more, maybe have to do some other modification, but let's give this thing a go. I'm back the next morning. Look at that, hard as a rock. I'm gonna start trimming this stuff up. I'm gonna take off all that and then maybe even start sanding this outside to get ready for Bondo. We'll see, it looks pretty good. Pretty happy with that. That's gonna turn out awesome. fiberglass is sanded down, and I actually put over my first skim of Bondo already. You can still tell kind of where the outlines are, like right here, you can see that. Or like right there, you can see that still. So I still need more than just one coat, but we'll see. Let's put a nice skim on. We'll get this sanded down. And I am getting excited. Those are looking awesome so far. Sanded off this first layer and not looking too bad. I think this one looks a little bit better with how smooth that fiberglass went on. This one, still a little pretty big gap right there, but that'll fill in with the next coat of Bondo. Right here, this thing, there's two little bumps right there. Maybe from that tack weld or something, I'm not quite sure. But those were pulled down and got that Bondoed up. That's looking nice. Maybe one or two more coats. We'll see. I got to run right now, but we'll get back at it tonight. Just finished up primer on these parts right here. This is looking pretty good. I'm liking how it ended up turning out. Trying to look in there at everything. I'm gonna end up trying to wet sand it quick before I put on the layer coat or first layer of paint. But we're gonna try to get that done today, get this thing first layer of paint on. Got everything wet sanded down. Now it's time for the moment of truth. We got the old Rust-Oleum matte black here. High quality, high budget job here. So we'll give this thing a go. Hopefully I don't screw it up too fast. Moment of truth all comes down to this. All right, let's go. Got this paint laid on. Not looking too bad for $400 motorcycle spray paint and primer, but getting pretty excited for that. I'm gonna pull these handlebars off, get some straight bars on there. I got these ones right here. If I like them, I'll end up powder coating them, make them look all nice. But other than that, gonna get that fender back on. I'm gonna start putting stuff back together, and oh, I think it's go time. Gonna leave these chrome for a little bit longer, but then take her for a test drive today. Still got to get blinkers on. And then maybe do some more powder coating after that. We'll see. Otherwise, it's getting close. I can see it. Moment of truth. What's going on?
Your tank?
Yeah.
You put your lid back on and everything already?
Yeah.
There was a lot of pieces, a lot of hardware went into that.
Oh yeah. So what I'm doing here is wiring up my blinkers. I got these in there and wiring up my tail light. This is just mocked on right now. I'll put some actual stuff on when I get this painted or powder coated. Not sure what I'm gonna do, but I got the front. These guys are all ready. So got those working, and check that out. Looking good. And part of the reason I think they're flashing a little fast is these resistors are a little big for what they should be. So I might try to double them up to get a little less resistance for that LED. And that'll slow down these blinks actually a little bit. But otherwise, it's not the end of the world. All right, I'm gonna get back to soldering. Only have, what, 11 more to go. So tail light and then 4 on each side of the blinkers. So here goes nothing. So a little bit of an update. We finally got our new resistors in. Gonna wire in these side blinkers right now. They're blinkers and taillights. They're gonna look awesome. So I'm gonna wire that right into that harness right there. It's gonna be sweet. We're almost getting there. I got all my taillights wired up. My side blinkers up here. I'll give you a test on those blinkers. Nice amber flashing there. Nice amber there. I'm really digging how that looks. Nice brake lights too. Here, I'll see if I can. So I am absolutely stoked on how that turned out. What I want to do next is get these badges ready. So those are going right there on those. And then I got one on the front fender too. What I'm gonna do for that is I'm gonna do some gloss black. So that'll kind of contrast that matte black, and I'm excited to see how it turns out. Fun thing about this project is nothing's permanent either. If I hate it, I can always go back to whatever I want. Let's give that a shot quick, and then next up, I think I might get started on some of the powder coating of these guys. Next step I'm looking at here is the exhaust. So right now I just got it coming straight out of the headers. Was thinking about doing some little shorty muffler right there, but you know, that'd still be loud as hell and would cost more than just using a stock exhaust. So I'm gonna try cutting these off, see how that looks, see if I can get these cleaned up. Gotta actually do some work right here too. But we'll give that a shot, see how that looks and sounds, and go from there. Quick update on the exhaust. I bought some band clamps, sandblasted my headers, and I actually ended up sandblasting the muffler too right over here. And plan, so yep, I have those chopped off mufflers. I'm gonna spray paint these with some high temp, high heat black. Hopefully that'll look pretty good and turn out, yeah, make it look halfway decent. So get to doing that quick first. Then I wanna pull that carb off today. I think that'll be a good idea. And hopefully this thing will be pretty close to ready.
I can't remember, but I had like bad, right? I don't know about that, but like full on like getting it, and I did. No, I didn't. But I think he like quit.
So to give a little background, I had a problem where it wasn't running up to about 4,000 RPM and then it'd take off like a bat out of hell. So I know that my main jets are good because that's what's controlling it after that quarter throttle or whatever. But one of these was plugged. I think it was, yeah, it was this one. And I wasn't running off of this cylinder right here. So what I did was I took out all these jets and ended up using a little wire right there and poking it through there and blowing it out with air, spraying a little carb cleaner through there. And I think I got it figured out. So I'm gonna put it back together and see if she rips. I kind of did a bad job at documenting taking all this stuff off, but I ripped off this front cover, the valve covers, the caps right up there, and got all that ready to go in the sandblaster. Ended up sandblasting these outside, so those are ready to go too, and we'll get to powder coating pretty quick here. So time to do some sandblasting, strip that old stuff off, and we'll see how it looks then. All right, sandblasting done. Now time to spray some powder coat on. We're gonna go with the gloss black for these ones. Got the valve cover still in there. Those are gonna be matte black with a little inlay. I'll show you what I'm doing there later. And then the same with the carb caps there. So let's get started on this and see how it turns out. Popped those pieces out of the oven and they're looking awesome. I cannot wait to get those on. Next step is going to be my valve covers and the carb cap covers. So I think I'm gonna go mirror black for these covers, and then I'm gonna do matte black for the valve covers, except for in these lower parts right there. I'm gonna try to put in some gloss black. So it'll be a little bit like everything will be matte black except for the lower parts. So we'll give that a shot, see how it goes. Could turn out like hell, I don't know. So sounds good, let's get to it. Check that out. That's looking pretty good. So right now I'm waiting for these to cool down. Still a little bit hot before I put in that gloss underlay in there. Still not exactly sure how I'm gonna do that, but we'll figure that out. That'll be fun. And then secondly, I started putting together this again. So I got this plate back on. And next I'm gonna put these timing belt covers back over. After that, not sure where I'm gonna go. Thinking probably handlebars, and then by then we'll have these cooled down. These turned out pretty good too. Got those all ready to go. Here's the other cover. So these can go on too, I guess. So this is the setup I decided I was gonna try out. So I masked off most everything around it, as you can see there. And I'm gonna spray that black powder right over top there and try to wipe it as best as I can. Then take that off before I put it in the oven. So let's give this a shot, see how it works. Check that out. I am stoked with how that turned out. That's gonna look so cool on the bike. Next up, what I wanna do is fix these headers. So I'm gonna cut these off and then weld on the new chunk. And then on top of that, what I'm gonna do is slather this with some anti-seize and then put that in the oven. That's gonna work kind of as like a coating for it. I've done it on one of my four-wheelers. Let's see if it turns out again. So here's how those exhausts turned out. Put them in the oven for probably 20-30 minutes. Hopefully that'll stop a little bit of the rust. It looks kind of cool too. And if it doesn't, I'll just take them off again and redo it. So next up, I'm gonna put on my valve covers and these new, or the powder coated caps right there, and start putting them together. Probably throw on the handlebars quick, and it's getting there. Now is the final stretch, so pretty excited about this. Stay tuned. Next minute's gonna be pretty awesome. All right, so everything's back on. I got the new exhaust back on. Check that out. That's looking good. I'm liking it. Powder coated parts are all on. New handlebars. Got one mirror. I still have another one. I'm gonna try to see if I like this first. But yeah, look at that. She's looking good. Up next is the body panels. It's coming together quick. And check that out. She's all done. just finishing up editing the video, and I wanted to do a quick recap. Overall, it was a super fun project. I put about 700 miles on it that summer and just had a blast with the whole project, the whole build, riding it afterwards. I had a little bit of a coolant leak, but other than that, the thing's been golden. I mean, 124,000 miles it had when I bought it, and I mean, I had about probably $150 into materials that I put into it after the original 400, and then I sold the bags for 50. So I really only have about $400 plus registration on that motorcycle, and honestly, it's been worth every dime. So just wanted to say thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a little bit longer of a video, but hopefully see you around for the next project. Peace out.